I'm Ryan Dean with Gilson Engineering. Today we're in the Gilson Engineering Flow Lab, and we are going to talk about our Gilson Engineering Bleach meter flow system. Okay, so now we have pre-wired our flow meter to the display, and we also have our triad power supply plugged into a 120 volt AC outlet. So if you look at the second page of the documentation that I mentioned ships with every one of these systems, it covers the operation of the PLC and it shows you how everything needs to be wired in. So if I flip my PLC over here, I have the gray cable coming from my paddle wheel flow meter that's 3 conductors, a red, a black, and a shield. So the red lands on terminal 15, the shield lands on terminal 2, the black lands on terminal 1, and then I also have a jumper cable that goes from terminals 1 to 5, and then I have the 2 leads coming off my power supply that go to terminals 1 and 2. One of the leads coming off the triad power supply has white stripes on it, and that's the lead that goes into terminal 1. The solid black conductor is the one that goes into terminal 2. Again, all of that is covered here in the documentation. So now that I've done that, my display is powered up. I did want to mention the flow meter itself, when it installs in the T out at your fill station. For best accuracy, we want this to be installed with, if we're in a 1-inch pipe, we want 10 pipe diameters upstream of the flow meter, 5 pipe diameters downstream of the flow meter. So in a 1-inch pipe, we would want 10 inches up, 5 inches down. We would also prefer to have this installed in a vertical orientation with flow up. That is the best case scenario for accuracy. So now if we look at the display, right from the front screen, we show you gallons, we give you a readout, and then it says hit down arrow to reset. So again, from inside the store, the cashiers can see the flow and they can reset the flow after each customer. So if I were to give this paddle a spin, you will see it totalize here on the screen. If I simply hit the down arrow, it will reset that back to 0. So after each customer is done filling jugs, you can figure out how many jugs they filled or how many total gallons they filled, and then reset it before the next customer begins. I will also show you, if you want to get into the programming feature, you hit the up arrow, then we type in our password, which is 111. We hit enter, and this is where we can set our K factor. The K factor is what we will use for calibration, which is the next step that I will show you. Alright, and now I'm going to show everybody how to do a calibration. So the first thing we want to do is come to our display. We're going to hit the up arrow, and that allows us to type in the password. Again, default password is 111, and then I hit my enter button, and now this takes me to my K factor. So when I go to do a calibration, I want to set my K factor to 1. What this allows us to do is count total number of pulses from our flow meter. So I type in the number 1, I hit enter, and now I hit the left arrow to go back to the main menu. From here, we've installed our paddle wheel flow meter into the 1-inch line. And that's installed in a 1-inch T, just like I showed you earlier. Two things to note. Whenever you install this meter, you line the grooves up on the inside of the flow meter and on the T, and then you crank down the fitting on top to hand tight, and then go an additional 1/4 turn. You will also notice flow arrows on top of this flow meter. The flow arrows are completely unimportant. We just need to make sure that the paddle wheel inside the T is perpendicular to flow, so that when flow passes by, it will cause that paddle to spin. Final step, we've got a 5-gallon bucket that we're going to fill up. Once that 5 gallons is completely full, then I'll show you the math that needs to be done for a calibration. So I'm going to come here to our PLC. This is how we turn our pumps on and off in the flow lab. So I hit my pump on, come over here and open the valve. And now we're beginning to flow into our bucket. All right, we've now finished flowing our 5 gallons. Turned my pump off, closed my valve. We come back over to the display and we see how many total pulses that we've counted. In this case, it is 694. Since I know that I have a 5-gallon bucket, I take my total number of pulses, I divide it by the volume of the bucket that I'm filling up, and that's what my K factor will end up being. So in this case, 694 divided by 5, my K factor needs to be 138.8. So I simply come back into the meter, press my up arrow, 111 for the password, enter button, and here I'm going to type in 138.8. Hit enter. Hit my left arrow to go back out to the main screen, and now I show a total flow of 5 gallons. That's it for your calibration. I personally recommend that you do this 3 times. Take the average across those 3 buckets. That's what you need to do for a calibration. Now, we have flowed water into this bucket. We also give you a K factor based on the T size, but those K factors are based on water. Your bleach or sodium hypochlorite has a slightly different specific gravity to water, so you always need to make sure that you run a calibration on bleach or whatever product it is that you are flowing through the paddle wheel. Once you've done this, you're now ready to use this meter, have your customers fill up jugs, and start billing them off of the meter.